Hello everyone, I'm Wong Gong. In this video, I'm going to share with you how to make Sichuan-style spicy beef noodles. First, we prepare 2 kilograms of fresh beef brisket and cut the brisket into 4 large pieces for later use. It's best to choose brisket that hasn't been injected with water. For tips on how to tell if beef has been injected with water, please refer to my previous videos. Next, place the beef brisket into a bowl, add clean water and wash it thoroughly. Soak it for 60 minutes. The purpose of this step is to remove the blood from the brisket. The next step is to prepare the supplementary ingredients. Take a large piece of fresh ginger and slice it for later use. You can cut the ginger slices a bit thicker. Prepare 2 stalks of green onion and cut them into sections for later use. Next, start preparing the spice bowl by adding 3-star anise and 2 small pieces of cinnamon. Add 2 pieces of sand ginger and a few cloves. Remember, don't add too many cloves. Then add a small handful of fennel seeds. Next, let's start processing the beef. First, put the soaked beef into a pot. Add an appropriate amount of water and bring it to a boil over high heat. Blanch the beef for 10 minutes. The purpose of this step is to let the beef set its shape. If you are using frozen beef, you need to cook it thoroughly. During the process, add an appropriate amount of cooking wine, ginger slices and scallions. Remember, this step is not to fully cook the beef, but just to let it set its shape, making it easier to cut into pieces. Once it comes to a boil over high heat, skim off the foam. After blanching for 10 minutes, take the beef out. Then rinse the beef thoroughly with clean water. After rinsing, pick out the ginger and scallions. Then while the beef is still hot, cut it into evenly sized small cubes and set aside. Next, we'll start braising the beef. First, add an appropriate amount of base oil to the pot. When the oil is heated to about 50% hot, add the prepared spices, ginger and scallions to the pot. Then, turn the heat down to low and stir fry the spices until fragrant. Once the spices are fragrant, add the cut beef brisket to the pot. After adding the beef brisket to the pot, stir fry over medium-low heat for 5 minutes. The purpose of this step is to dry out the beef brisket and bring out its aroma. After 5 minutes of stir frying, add caramelized sugar and stir fry to color the meat. If no caramelized sugar, dark soy sauce can substitute. Once the beef is colored, add 30 grams of cooking wine by pouring it along the edge of the pot and stir fry evenly. Then add 10 grams of sesame paste and stir fry until well mixed. You can also add 2 pieces of fermented bean curd to enhance the flavor. After stirring everything evenly, add an appropriate amount of water and simmer for 40 minutes. The amount of water should ideally cover the beef brisket. After simmering for 10 minutes, remove the ginger and scallions. Since the beef brisket is a semi-processed product, you shouldn't leave the ginger and scallions in the pot for too long, otherwise they will turn sour during extended storage. After removing the ginger and scallions, reduce to low heat and simmer for another 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, take out the beef brisket and set it aside. Next, we'll start preparing the noodles. First, prepare 300 grams of alkaline noodles. Alkaline noodles generally have a better texture. Prepare an appropriate amount of water spinach, tie it into knots, and set aside. You can also choose your preferred vegetables. Once the cooked beef brisket has cooled completely, take it out and place it in a bowl for later use. Prepare 30 grams of spicy hot pot base and chop it up for later use. If you don't like the taste of beef tallow, you can substitute chili powder or Sichuan peppercorns. Next, we'll start cooking the noodles. First, add an appropriate amount of water to the pot. Once the water comes to a boil over high heat, add the alkaline noodles to the pot. After the alkaline noodles are added and the water comes back to a boil, do not cook them for too long. Just a few seconds is enough. Then take out the cooked noodles and place them in a bowl. Next, we'll start cooking the beef brisket. First, add a small amount of oil to the pot and heat it up. When the oil reaches about 40% heat, add the chopped hot pot base and stir fry over low heat until it melts. Remember, you must use a very low flame during this process. Otherwise, it's very easy to burn the base. Once the base has melted, add the cooked beef brisket and stir fry evenly. Then add 350 grams of clear broth. If you don't have clear broth, you can use water instead. Bring it to a boil over high heat. Once it comes to a boil, add a little soy sauce to season. After seasoning, add the prepared vegetables and blanch them in the pot until cooked. Once the vegetables are cooked, you can take them out of the pot. A delicious bowl of spicy beef noodles is now ready. Now let's move on to the technical summary. First, if you don't like spicy flavors, you can simply use clear broth or the original beef brisket broth to cook. Second, besides noodles, you can also use sweet potato noodles or vermicelli as substitutes for the spicy beef noodles. That's the end of the summary.